Insightful podcasts by informative hosts. Insights into Things, a podcast network. Welcome to Insights into Teens, a podcast series exploring the issues and challenges of today's youth. Your hosts are Joseph and Madison Whalen, a father and daughter team making their way through the challenges of the teenage years.
Welcome to Insights into Teens. This is episode 170, Perspectives on Parenting, Top Challenges. Yeah, pretty much, I guess. I don't know.
Top challenges?
That's what it's called.
No, it's nurturing.
Fine, okay.
I think we didn't get the right notes there.
I'm your host, Madison Whalen, clearly not very good at it, and my co-host, Joseph Whalen.
Hi, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Kind of figured as much. And as hopefully with our, more penultimate, not really penultimate, really. What do you call these? Our tens?
Our tens, yes.
As with our tens for now, we have a special guest, my mother and co-host of that kind of dead podcast, Insights and Entertainment, Michelle Whalen.
Wow, that was an intro.
There's our marketing department again for you.
Hey, it makes it more fun, I'm not great at this, but it makes it so that everybody laughs along.
There
Sure.
you go.
That's all that matters.
Sure.
We all have fun in the process, right?
All right, so this is one of our Perspectives on Parenting episodes that we're trying to do every 10 episodes. We have just concluded our emotional intelligence series, and this is kind of the transition into the next period.
Right.
And last time we actually only got through one of the planned segments we had for questions, so we're going to be spending this episode going over the second segment of questions, that being that of nurturing. And pretty much this is just going to be a Q&A between me and my parents, and it's kind of get more the parenting perspective about how challenging it is to be a parent. Without further ado, I think we can get started. How about you?
Sure.
All right.
I guess I should do a transition now.
Probably.
Okay, we'll skip all the credits and everything now. Okay, let's go.
Alright, so our starting questions relate to showing kids that you love them, because that's a part of nurturing your kids.
Because we're legally required to love you.
No, we're not. I don't think that's actually part of it. We just happen to do it, so.
Yeah, So the first question we have, which I guess can go out to either of you, because I haven't, pre-said, which one's going to which. So anyone can answer this, really. How much or often do you feel you express how much you care about me?
I would say probably daily, hourly. Depends on the mood.
Fair enough.
Depends if you're being a pain. No, even Daddy and I are very fortunate with you. You really are, not to toot your own horn, but you're a very exceptional kid, and so it's very easy to love you, even when we're upset with you. We still love you.
That's nice. It's nice to know I'm loved.
And to Mommy's point, I think one of the things that you discover is that each of us shows, we express it differently, right? Mommy expresses it every day by making sure you get to the school bus, and by making sure that there's food on the table, and by making sure that your lunch is packed and all that stuff. Mommy does it numerous times throughout the day. Not so much with me, but
I pack your lunch too.
She still packs your lunch.
No, I mean I'm not the one.
Okay.
I don't express it as often as
Gotcha.
you do like that. But generally, when I do it, it's not the accumulation of little things. It's the more deliberate things.
The
I
quality,
see.
not the quantity.
Exactly.
That makes sense. All right, the next question we have here is, what ways do you feel that you express your love for me? Which, I guess kind of follows the previous question. How about you? Go first.
You being me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go first. Well, I think I do it by spending the time that we spend together. We spend a lot of quality time together, especially when it's study time or homework time or project time for school. I enjoy doing stuff like that with you. Or playing rock band, or it's to me I'm more into the experience and spending time and dedicating that to you. But I also like buying you presents and stuff and little things. Like we have our Temu days and stuff, and it's like whenever I put an order in, I make sure I get something for you because I know it lifts your spirits and it's something that makes you smile.
That makes sense. So besides, basically taking care of my every whim in the morning and during the entire day, how else do you think you express your love, Mommy?
Well, I think, spending time with you. We haven't done it in a while, but we used to have TV time every night where we would just sit and watch, television together. We go and get our nails done together. We'll, take trips to Five Below, usually on a day off from school. I try and, take a day off or take time off from school, from work, to be able to spend the day with you and, do Dave and Buster's or go to the mall or something, where we have that fun time
Especially when I can't
together.
go to Dave and Buster's.
Right, because we do it intentionally to make sure that, Daddy's left out.
I think in general, I think we're very fortunate that you enjoy spending time with us. Like that's a bonus.
Right.
And I don't know how long that's going to be like that. So I think Mommy and I are wise enough to take advantage of that when we can so that we can enjoy that time now.
Yeah. All right, so this is going to get a little dark, so prepare for this, I guess. Would any factor about me that came up, such as my gender or sexuality, cause you to love me any less?
And who's that for?
Either of you, honestly.
I'll go first.
Okay.
It had no bearing whatsoever. Like, ever. I knew from the moment I, wanted to be a mom that no matter what the gender was, I would love the child. No matter what, as long as the child didn't grow up to be a sociopath, I would always, love that child no matter what, unconditionally. And I think with the changes you've gone through with different things throughout, your lifetime so far, there's never been a moment that I haven't been supportive of you. And that's one of those things that I can't wrap my head around for parents that would disown their child because of their, sexuality or their gender identity or anything like that, where parents just, or even religion, where kids decide that they want to practice a different religion and, they just totally become disowned. And I just, as a parent, I don't understand how you can just turn that off. If it's something where you committed a crime, you committed murder, or you did something heinous, that I could totally understand as a parent, walking away from. But something because you choose who you are, why wouldn't I love you?
Yeah, I think that's a very good answer.
Thank you.
Daddy?
And I would agree. And there was never a point in time with any of those circumstances that would have caused me not to love you. I think, if anything, it's caused anxiety on my part, because sometimes it's things that I don't understand and I try to understand it, or it's things that are so profoundly outside my control that my natural instinct to try to protect you is compromised at times. So if there's any issues that I have, it's more issues with me and my own ability to cope with things than it is with you on any level.
All right.
And for the record, I'd help you bury the body. just so you know.
All right, good answers from on both parts. I appreciate both, for different reasons. Next question we have is, are there times that you have to limit my actions just because you wanted to protect me? I guess we can go
I
on
guess
you.
I asked for that one, didn't I? Yes, all the time. And I do it, and I'll be the first one to admit that I do it discriminatingly and probably unfairly. For the longest time when you were growing up, I had the biggest fear of how boys were going to react to you. I know boys, and I know what they're capable of. I know how they think, and it terrifies me to have boys around my little girl. So, yeah, I probably said things. I probably did things that were in the spirit of protecting you that were probably overbearing. I'll admit to that, and I'm not apologizing for that. My job is to protect you, and I protect you the best way that I know how.
That's fair. Mommy, how about you?
Well, I think, and we had this conversation not that long ago where, I had said I didn't feel that I was a helicopter parent, but I felt I had to be a helicopter parent because of Daddy, because of the way Daddy felt about certain things, and where I felt okay about certain situations, Daddy didn't. So to make him happy, I became the partial helicopter parent to watch over and make sure things were fine, where I think if I hadn't done that, things still would have been fine. I don't think you were ever in any situation that could have or would have gone, in a bad situation. But because of the way Daddy being much more overbearing in certain respects, I had to, he wanted to be the overbearing one, but I had to be the one to do the actions. He was management.
When in doubt, blame my dad.
Yep, pretty much.
That's usually a good tactic.
Yeah, all right. Next up, we have there been any rifts in our relationship due to anything you might have done that you believed was in my best interest, but I didn't agree with?
I'll take that one first.
All right.
The only thing that immediately pops to mind is how I reacted when you revealed that you were aromantic. So I think my reaction was probably misinterpreted, but it was probably not presented in a way that was acceptable. And I think that, at least it felt to me as though it kind of drove a wedge between us for a little while. And my point was, you're young. I understand you feel this way, but, let's not close ourselves off to other opportunities. And you interpreted that as, I wasn't respecting how you felt. And I totally understood where you were coming from with that, but that was not the intention. That was not the message that I was trying to get across, and I didn't present it in an acceptable manner.
Okay, going a bit dark there.
Well, you asked.
I guess so. Mommy, anything with you?
I don't think so. Like, because I think I've been the voice of reason when certain situations like that, you know, have come into play. You know, what, you've been grounded twice in your life, and that was, you know, you were in nursery school at the time. Like, I can't even remember the last time you were punished for something, you know.
And I
it's-
didn't have to help bury the body that time.
Right, right. You know, you had a couple of timeouts, and, you know, other than that, it might be something, hey, did you finish the laundry? Oh, wait a second, you were supposed to work on laundry yesterday or the day before, you know, stuff like that. So it's, you know, for the most part, I really can't, you know, say that, you know, oh yeah, here, you know, it's those small things. It's, you know, the things that, you know, all right, so laundry didn't get folded. All right, whatever. We'll turn the dryer on again and we'll fluff everything up and we'll fold it tomorrow, you know. So I think that's where, you know, fortunately, you know, when it comes to school, when it comes to your grades, obviously never an issue on our part. You're harder on yourself than Daddy or I ever have to be. So that's never, you know, something. So if it's, you know, you didn't do a chore, okay, you didn't do it today, you'll do it tomorrow. Okay, that's fine.
All right. Good answers. Next up, we have, do you think one of the many jobs of a parent must be to love and care for their kid, or is it something that's more optional?
Clearly, I thought it was a job to love you, but I mean, I think it's. I think if you're a decent human being, you do. I don't think it's an optional thing, and I don't think it's really a job. It's, do you love your kids? If you don't, why'd you have kids? You know, to me, it's a natural thing to me, and that's really the only way I can explain it.
That makes sense.
No, and I think it's much. I'm trying to think of the wording, but it's kind of, yeah, like it's a duh. Why would you have kids? But unfortunately, there are people that do have kids for the wrong reasons, and unfortunately, you know, parents sometimes just don't have that paternal instinct or that paternal desire, and you know, you'll see where, you know, people have kids and then hand the kids off to the grandparents or some other family relative to raise just because they have no connection to that child. So it seems kind of, again, like a duh, why wouldn't you love your child? But there are people out there that have kids that have no connection to them, just because, you know, of past trauma with them, or they're just not that parenting type. So it's not as obvious, I think, as you know, some people think it is.
All right. I agree. Next question we have is there anything that I could do that would make you stop loving me? Pretty simple question.
Is it really? Because it's a pretty profound question.
I mean, I guess, but like there might be a simple answer. I don't know.
It's one of those things where, no, right now I couldn't think of a single thing that you could do that would make me stop loving you. 20 years from now, I don't know, maybe. It's subjective, for me at least. How about you?
Yeah, probably, you know, the same. You know, unless you did something to cause great harm, or, you know, I don't know. You know, you get the nuclear codes and you know, blow up a couple of countries. I don't know.
I'll cross that one off the list.
Check.
All right, the last one we have for this segment is: should all parents on some level have love for their child no matter what?
Boy, you're really pushing this whole love thing. Do you not feel love?
No, I'm just asking your opinion.
Do you need a hug?
I think we covered this with the previous question, but yeah, I think all parents should have love for their child. You know, whether there's a disconnect or not, I can certainly see situations where that happens, but I don't know. It's not like you're not a pet, right? It's not a love that's developed. To me, it's a genetic type thing. Like the love that I have for my kids is unlike the love that I have for anything else in the world. And I can't fathom not loving my kids. You know, Sam and I had gone through some rough patches a few years back, but I didn't stop loving him through that. And I don't know, I have a very difficult time wrapping my head around the concept of not loving your kids. Like, it's just, to me, it's always been there. So.
All right, so that was the end of our first segment. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about spending quality family time together.
Ooh, quality time. We'll be right back. For over 7 years, the Second Sith Empire has been the premier community guild in the online game Star Wars: The Old Republic. With hundreds of friendly and helpful active members, a weekly schedule of nightly events, annual guild meet and greets, and an active community both on the web and on Discord. The Second Sith Empire is more than your typical gaming group. We're family. Join us on the Starforge server for nightly events such as operations, flashpoints, world boss hunts, Star Wars trivia, guild lottery, and much more. Visit us on the web today at www.thesecondsithempire.com.
Welcome back to Insights into Teens. Today we are on our second Perspectives on Parenting episode. And right now we're going to be talking about spending quality family time together. First question in this segment is, what would you consider to be quality family time?
Me, quality family time is any time I get to spend with my family. And it doesn't have to be game night or vacations or anything like that. I mean, we've done 16-hour rides to Disney and back, and I consider that quality time. You know, whenever we're interacting with each other, I think it's quality time because you're building that relationship, you're enjoying the time together, and that's probably the most important thing to me, at least.
All right. Next question we have is, do you think the idea of spending time as a family can differ from different households?
Oh, absolutely, because there are, families that, they get together for sporting events, or, their kids are on teams or different, extracurricular activities, and, that's where they spend their time together. Like when you were doing marching band, I was active, with the Band Parent Association so that I could, find out when things were going on and be there to support and help out and do things like that. So there are parents that are active with that with their kids, and there are some that aren't. So, everybody kind of has their own different idea of quality time. One of the things that we're very fortunate is that we all have dinner together pretty much 99% of the time. It's very rare that we don't all sit down together and have dinner. And there are some families that never have dinner together because the parents work, second shift or third shift, and some are coming and going while kids are at school. So sometimes they might only get to have a meal together on a weekend or on a day off from work or something, where for us that's something we do every day. So and that some people would find that very fortunate that we do that, and we kind of take it for granted that it's something kind of easy that we do.
Yeah, I definitely would say that. Well, I guess we kind of answered the third one, so we can probably move on from that. So, going along with that question, should every family try to strive to have some sort of quality spent family time together?
I would say yes, but I think, again, that's kind of subjective. It works for us. It might not work for everybody. There are families that don't get along with each other. There are families that their schedules don't permit it. So if you try to do something like that, it could overstress a situation. But I mean, speaking just from experience, that's really what I thrive on. That's what energizes me, and that's what brightens my day. And if I have a rough day at work, I look forward to coming home, to having dinner, to having our talks, and doing a podcast or whatever it is that we do. That's what I don't live to work. I work to live, and I live for my family. Is really, and then that quality time is a representation of that.
All right. So I don't really know if I want to phrase the question like how it's written, but let's see. So should parents see quality time with their child as something more like it's okay if they don't do it, if like they do it occasionally it's fine, or should like they strive to be doing it?
I guess it really depends on the situation, because again, there are some parents that like to be hands-on, that want to be, with their child and spend time with their child and do activities with their kids. And there are other parents that are more standoffish, that, feel uncomfortable, doing that. So it's, it would be nice if every parent spent quality time with their kids, but unfortunately not every parent does.
Yeah, I could definitely, understand that, and, how that could be different between everybody. So how do you think our family dynamic would be different if we didn't spend time together?
I think it would probably be like the family dynamic that I had at home, because we didn't really spend time together. My dad kind of was never around, so he was, and it wasn't, for a number of reasons, one of which was he worked a really odd shift, but that was one of many reasons. But I think it would be like that, and I think that's kind of why I tend to be, I don't know, smothering maybe when it comes to family time and wanting to have my family near me. Like, it sounds silly, but one of the things that that is a pleasant sound for me is if you guys are out doing something and I'm sitting downstairs and I hear the chime of the door. It's like, oh, everybody's home now. So like the house is complete now. The house has like a completely different feel to it when it has the family here than if I'm here by myself. So it's one of those things where I don't think I'd like the family dynamic if we didn't have that family time.
I can certainly understand that. Final question we have in this segment, because, for some reason some of the other ones just ended up combining, is do you enjoy that we all have time to spend with each other?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's wonderful that we all get along and that we all enjoy each other's company, and that we do enjoy, going and doing things together, during the week and, on the weekends and vacations and things like that. But I also think it's nice when we get to have our time away from each other too. You know, it's not where we're, you know, we spend 24/7 together, you know, because I think, you know, it kind of makes the time that we do spend together special. When, you know, if I go off to Red Tent or something with, you know, friends of mine, or you go and do something with friends of yours, or Daddy does stuff, you know, with
random people because I have no friends.
No, I was going to say, you know, like when you play your Star Wars game, technically you're home, but you're not, you know, engaging with us. You're, you know, doing your own thing. You know, I think that's important as part of the dynamic as well, is for everybody to have, you know, that time away from the family unit, as well.
I have that effect on people, you know.
Yeah, where we just don't want to be around
They
you.
want to get away from me. That's one of my talents.
Right.
Well, either way, that was the end of our second segment. We'll be right back and talk about being a role model.
Role models.
Insights into Entertainment, a podcast series taking a deeper look into entertainment and media. Our husband and wife team of pop culture fanatics are exploring all things from music and movies to television and fandom. We'll look at the interesting and obscure entertainment news of the week. We'll talk about theme park and pop culture news. We'll give you the latest and greatest on pop culture conventions. We'll give you a deep dive into Disney, Star Wars, and much more. Check out our video episodes at youtube.com/insightsintothings. Our audio episodes at podcast.insightsintoentertainment.com, or check us out on the web at insightsintothings.com.
Welcome back to Insights into Teens. Today we have our episode on perspectives of parenting, which honestly now I'm starting to realize is completely different from the title of the podcast. Never mind. Anyway, now we're going to be asking questions more or less about being a role model. So the first one we have is, do you believe that parents can act as important role models in their kids' lives?
Absolutely. I think, you know, I feel bad for kids that don't see their parents as a role model, because I think, you know, that should kind of be, you know, the kid's number one hero or number one role model, you know, person to look up to. And I know in a lot of cases it's not, unfortunately, because, you know, of just whatever the relationship is, you know, with the child and the parent.
That's true. How about this? Could a parent be both a good and bad role model to their kid?
Absolutely, and I strive to straddle that fence myself as much as possible. You know what I say? Nobody's useless. You can always serve as a bad example. Seriously, though, yes, parents can and should serve as role models, and parents get to choose what kind of role models they do, because especially at an earlier age, kids tend to look up to their parents just by default and try to emulate them. And whether you exhibit good behavior or you exhibit bad behavior, the kids are going to emulate that. So, you know, for first-time parents, it's really tough to do simple things. You know, watch your language around your kids, and don't say things that you don't want your kids saying, and don't act a certain way. You know, don't do things in front of your kids that you don't want your kids doing. And if you're a first-time parent, a lot of people don't realize that right off the bat. So you can corrupt kids pretty quickly like that. So it's very easy to unintentionally be that bad role model, I think.
All right. So how do you believe a good role model could affect a child?
I think, a good role model would be probably the best example, for a child to strive, to achieve things and just see that, this was a good role model. This is what I want to be like. So I think that's the best kind of role model to be.
All right, so how do you think a bad role model parent could affect a kid?
Boy, how did that question come to me? I think the problem that you run into with bad role models, even bad role models can have a good effect on kids. All right. I talk about my father a lot. I think my father was a bad role model. He wasn't a particularly good family man. He didn't spend time with us as a family. He treated my mother poorly. He treated us poorly. But by being a bad role model, it made me want to be a better person, a better father, a better husband. And I think if you have enough positive influence in your life to recognize when you have a bad role model, the role model then can serve a positive purpose. But if you don't have that positive influence in your life to be able to tell right from wrong, I think you can wind up repeating the sins of the role model.
Some very deep questions we got here, don't we?
Deep thoughts.
Yep. We already answered this one, kind of. So, is it okay to rely on other sources of role models for your kids?
Absolutely, because there are some parents who just don't have the knowledge or the self-confidence to feel like a positive role model, and in that situation they kind of are a better role model to, show their kids, hey, listen, this is what I did wrong, as a kid or as an adult. Don't follow my examples. Look towards, this other relative, or, as much as I would hate to say, ooh, look at this celebrity, maybe, somebody that they know, or, that maybe the child looks up to for other reasons. A sports figure, even, look, this person went to college and this person strived to make all these changes and better themselves. This is who you should be. Don't be like me, where the parent has enough knowledge to realize, hey, you know what? I'm not a good role model. Don't do what I did. Follow, something else.
Yeah, and just to follow that up, I agree 100%. I think it's okay to have that alternate role model if the parents aren't up to the role, or even as a supplemental in addition to your parents. But I think you need to have parents or a mentor that's close to you that can help you find a role model that's appropriate. You need that level of guidance, that right from wrong, that character judge. You need someone that can help you find that role model, because unfortunately today's society is so quick to turn to celebrities and inappropriate celebrities as role models just because they're celebrities. And what people tend to find out is once they go down that rabbit hole is that celebrities can be very flawed individuals who probably should not be emulated.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So, even with outside role models, how much do you think the actions of a parent can affect the development of their kids?
100%. If it's the parent that's around, your child, and probably even if the parent isn't around the child, you're still affecting that child. You figure there are parents of divorce where a child might, split their time between two households, and maybe if they're spending certain time with one parent versus the other, that could, have a positive or a negative effect on the child, depending on what type of environment that child's in. So it's kind of hard to say. It could kind of go either way, I think.
All right. And the final question I have for all of us is, how do you feel about the possible role modeling you've given me over the years?
I think we did horrible.
I think I did too much role modeling because you're personality-wise very much like me, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that was never my intention in role modeling you. My biggest hope is that you are you. I want you. You're a unique, brilliant, wonderful, creative individual, and I want you to be you. I don't want you to be a mini version of me. And there's a certain, to a certain extent, I did the same thing with Sam, and I don't know if it's just because of a forceful personality I have or what, but
It's the genetics.
The genetics. I want you to be you, and I think maybe I was too much of a role model at times, but I think at this point in time, you're starting to blossom and come into your own, and you are that unique person that I always wanted you to be.
Oh, me? I think there are things that, like Daddy said, I'm very proud of you for being who you are. I look forward to the other changes that you'll be going through the next 2 years of high school and then onto college, hopefully, and where that leads you. Things that I kind of thought how you felt about things, recently finding out that you feel differently kind of surprised me. I don't know if it shocked me, but I kind of felt like I wasn't a good role model in that respect because of the choices that you were making with that. But I support your decisions and, again, would never not love you for it and feel, okay, if that's the way you are, that's the way you are, because that's your decision. You came to that conclusion on your own, and that's how it should be with things like that. So I think, for the 16 and a half years you've been around, I think we've done a pretty darn good job so far.
Alrighty.
All that, and she's humble too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's the end of our.
Awkward, painful discussion.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I'm not used to hosting, and I don't even have any good.
Oh my goodness, I was not commenting on your hosting skills. Boy, somebody's sensitive.
Aren't
Anyway.
you glad we have this quality time together?
See,
Yay!
this
Look
is
at
quality.
this quality time.
Anyway,
Anyway,
did we want to do some show plugs? Or did you have closing thoughts? Anything?
I could probably do show plugs.
All right, how about we do some show plugs here?
Because, I didn't do it in the beginning, but even then I don't really agree with this. But anyway, so, show plugs. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast at this point. You can email us at comments@insightsintothings.com. Let us know how we're doing. Tell us your show topics. Tell us what you don't want us to do. All that good stuff.
Ask us where the bodies are.
We're still trying to find those bodies, people. You can get us on Twitter at insights_things. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/insightsintothings. We stream 5 days a week on Twitch at twitch.tv/insightsintothings. You can find our audio podcast listed as podcast.insightsintoteens.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/insightsintothingspodcast, or on Instagram at instagram.com/insightsintothings. And you can get links to all these and more on our website at www.insightsintothings.com.
That's it.
Yep.
Another one in the books.
Bye.
No, we don't
yeah.
need your advertising.
All right,
You're
fine.
not
Bye,
helping anything.
everyone.
Bye.